Hello everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make liquid oxygen and oxygen not included. When it comes to making liquid oxygen, it's a rather very late game resource that can only be obtained with the use of another late game item. But before we get into that, let's first check into what temperature can oxygen become a liquid. If we check into the database of oxygen, you can see here that it completely turns into a liquid at negative 183 degrees. With that in mind, we got a value that we can work around with. This is a standard setup for making liquid oxygen, with a tank being set at the middle, an oxygen source at the bottom, and a cooling loop at the top. I'm getting the oxygen I need here at the bottom with a submerged electrolyzer setup, so the gases are already separated for me to make full use of them. If we check into the gas pipe overlay, you can see that I'm completely avoiding going into the interior of the room, and only really going through the walls. But it's much better to not let it touch the walls at all, and only go straight through the gas pipes. Do make sure that the gas pipe is set up this way, so in the case that the vent is overpressured, then the excess gas can just go on a loop until they can get in when the oxygen condenses back into water. Now onto the cooling aspect of the build. I'm using supercoolant for the condensing of the oxygen, and I'm using a heat injector to carefully control the temperature of the room. This is to prevent the oxygen from turning into ice. Now supercoolant is a must for this build, as it's the only liquid in the game that never freezes, so you have to get that in advance to begin trying to make this build. For the insulated pipes here, make sure to use ceramic when you're supplying the liquid oxidizer tank, as it's the second best insulation in the game. However, if you have the material Insulite, another late game item, and is also the best insulator in the game, then that would be the best material to use. But if you're using ceramic, make sure to loop the liquid oxygen back into the tank to prevent it from bursting in the pipes. For the automation on the liquid aqua tuner, I've set it to above negative 230 degrees. For the thermosensors responsible for the heat injectors, I've set it at below negative 215 degrees. And I added another thermal sensor attached to the liquid pump and set it at below negative 200. I did this to give the liquid oxygen more time to travel in the pipes and get back into the tank when it loops. And that's about it about how to make liquid oxygen and oxygen not included.